Hello and welcome to a video overview of how to create a digital escape room. On my screen right now, you can see a digital escape room that I created having to do with books. And it's basically setting up a scenario where I'm trapped in a book or somebody's trapped in a book and whoever's reading the web page, and they have to get out of the book. And to do that, they have different clues here on the page linked to the different pictures. Or as the instructions here tell you, some of the clues may be in the pictures themselves. And when you find an answer, you type it into this form that's embedded on this Google site right here. So all this is a Google site. And I'll show you how I created this. First, I'll just go through it really briefly so you get an idea of how this works. So say you want to pique your students' interest in a new topic you're studying. And in this case, maybe it's a media center specialist who wants to pique students' interest in books. So she has them go through, or he has them go through this digital escape room with these different books right here. And we can see the hints are contained over here, and the answers you'll type in the form right here. And this one says four-digit number lock, hint New York. So somebody going through this digital escape room would have to, if they didn't know any of these books, they might want to, this one doesn't have anything to click on. This one does, so they might want to click on this and see where it takes them. And it takes them to a web page all about Great Expectations. And they would probably read through that to see if there was anything about New York in there. And just for time's sake, there isn't. So once they get to The Great Gatsby and they click on this one, they'll see that in this article about The Great Gatsby, Long Island is mentioned, and Long Island is in New York. And if they read through the article, they'll see that the year 1922 was the setting of The Great Gatsby in Long Island, New York. So then the answer here would be 1922. So they would type that. They would go on to the next one. The hint is benefactor, and they can't click on any link here with Charlotte's Web. So that one doesn't really have anything that we could discern from. And just to save time, I'll let you know right now that the benefactor is Magwitch, and that's a character in one of the books mentioned here. For the next one, Gertrude, that has to do with Hamlet, and if you click on this, it actually goes to a short video having to do with Hamlet. It's only 2 minutes long, so the students would watch that video, and they would find out that Gertrude was poison. So poison, it's a 6-letter word, poison, wind and migration. Actually, this has to do with, if you click on the Grapes of Wrath, it talks about the Dust Bowl, so dust, because it's a 4-letter word, wind and migration. And the Grapes of Wrath is all about people migrating from Oklahoma toward California. 3-letter word, and then this one is actually pig for Charlotte's Web. And that one, you don't click on anything, you just see it right there. So then that's how you solve it. And once you hit submit, and you scroll back up, and you view accuracy, the student would see that they got all of them right. If I got any of them wrong, they would be marked in red, and I could go back and fill out the form again. So that's how I could do that. So if I wanted to fill out the form again, I could. Okay, so digital escape rooms, there's lots of different examples out there. This Da Vinci's Notebook one was actually made by 2 trainers in our department, by Brad Peterson and Justin Vargas. And mine is on one page. Theirs they did on multiple pages, so you can have your clues on different pages, and then the Google form for each one, the locks, is on a different page. So if we click on locks, that'll take us to where we would type in the answers. So you can set it up that way. I did mine just on one page. So my digital escape room, I'll refresh it here. So you can see the form is embedded again. That's how you could fill it out again. You would just refresh if you need to fill it out again to submit. But how did I make this? That's what I want to go over next. So to make one of these digital escape rooms, the first thing I would do is I would have a planning document. I would have a topic that I want my students to be interested in. I think digital escape rooms are great for building anticipation about something that students are going to learn. So let's say that a social studies teacher wanted to get their students excited about events of the Civil War because that's the next subject they're going to study in social studies. So I have 5 different events because I want my form to have 5 different clues. So I picked South Carolina secedes from the Union, First Battle of Bull Run, Battle of Gettysburg, Emancipation Proclamation, and General Lee surrenders. And then what I would do is I would find information that's tied to that that I want the students to kind of look for in the digital escape room. So South Carolina secedes from the Union. I went and I found on the internet an article about that. Okay, and it's pulling up that article right now. But we'll go back here. And then for First Battle of Bull Run, I found a short YouTube video about that. Okay, and then I already came up with my, I'll X out of that one, with my hints because I already know what the answers are. So once I finished doing this document, I only did the first 2, but once I finished doing this, I would be ready to create the Google form. That would be the next step. So planning document, then the Google form. So I would create the Google form by going into my Drive. Okay, and I can go into my Drive here. And actually, that's Google Sites. Let's go ahead and go to drive.google.com. I'm going to go into my Google Drive to set up my Google form, or you could go into your Google Apps to do that, but I'm just going to press the new button. Then I'm going to go down here to More, go to Google Forms, and it's taking a little bit to load there. And it's just a new Google form, so we'll title it up here, okay, digital escape room events of the Civil War. Okay, and then I'm going to have 5 different questions here, and I already have my planning document, so all I would have to do is I can copy this, go back to this, okay, and it's a short answer, and the nice thing about forms is it knows that it wants a short answer. And what I'm going to do, this is important, is to go down here, and we want to do the response validation so that it's not a number, but text. And if we really want to give the students and tie them down to the correct answer is actually Buchanan, because he was the president at the time that South Carolina seceded. So what I'm going to do is actually go to the settings here, and this is important. So we'll go to the settings and change this to a quiz. Okay, we're going to make this a quiz, so that way the students will be able to validate their answers after they submit the form. So I am changing it to a quiz. There are other ways of doing this with a Google form, but I like to create it as a quiz. And I'm going to do later after manual review. I don't want respondents to see, actually, they can see them as questions. That's fine. And press save. Okay. And then for the answer key, I'm going to go ahead and add the correct answer, which is Buchanan. And I'm doing it all caps. Okay. And then I'm ready to add my next question. Okay. And the next one, I would just go ahead again and copy this from here. And This one has to do with the first Battle of Bull Run. And in a little bit, you'll see how I create the site and have the different pictures on the site so that students can click on them or look at them to get the hints and to get the answers for these. And this one has to do with the number. I put the hint Bull Run Calamity, and I actually am looking for the casualties. It links to a video that says that 5,000 casualties occurred during the first Battle of Bull Run. So we'll do it's a number, answer key. The correct answer is 5,000. Okay. And then you would just keep doing, you know what, for time's sake, I'm not going to create 3 more questions, but just so you can see what that looks like, I will have these, let's see, I'll just type in the same ones over and over and duplicate them 2 more times. So we have 5 questions. Okay. So when the form is embedded on the site, it looks a little bit better. Okay, so then we have the form ready. Then what we need to do, and one thing I didn't do on here is I didn't put a question for name. If you want the students to type in their name, you could put a question on here for name, but I did not do that. Now I'm ready to, after I build the form, I'm ready to finally build the Google site that the form will be embedded on. So again, I'm going to go to my drive just so I can get to my app chooser here, the waffle. And then I'm going to go to Google Sites, which allows us to build a website. And once you're in Google Sites, it defaults to the old sites. You're going to want to go to the new sites because they just look much better and function much better. So we're going to click on New Google Sites. And then what I want to do is go to this plus sign down in the bottom to create a new site. And I'm going to title this one Digital Escape Room, Events of the Civil War. Okay, so and then you can come up with a scenario so that students, like I had the book one where you're trapped in a book, you could come up with a scenario that they're, you know, maybe trapped back in time in a battle, and the only way they can get out of that is to answer all the questions correctly on this digital escape room so that they can get out of that. So we'll just say, whoops, trapped in a battle. Okay, so that could just be our banner here. And if you don't like that header type, you can always change it to something else. Title only, so it gets a little smaller. You can change the theme of this. Purple. There's all kinds of things you can do with this, but for time's sake, we'll keep it pretty simple. And then I'm going to embed the form over here. And Google Sites is super easy to use. So I'm just going to double click, and double clicking anywhere allows you to put different things on your site. So I want to embed that Google form. So I'm going to go back to my digital escape room. I'm going to go to the preview of the form and copy this long link. Go back to my Google site that I'm building. And we want to do it by URL. So I just paste the URL in and then insert. And it embeds the form right into the site. And then I'm just going to kind of shrink it just a little bit. Okay. And then what I'm going to do next is I want pictures having to do with those items on my planning document. So South Carolina secedes from the Union. So I'm going to double click here, and I actually saved a picture already into my drive, and you could search the internet. We could do that. Search maybe South Carolina or see what kinds of results we get. I like the one that I saved in my drive better because it highlights South Carolina. There it is. Select, and then there it is. Okay. And I can resize that. I can drag and move it around. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to link the clue to it. So, and that clue is in my planning document right here. So I'm going to grab this link and go back to my digital escape room that I'm building and press apply, so that when students click on this picture, they'll go to the article about South Carolina seceding from the Union, and they'll find out the president at the time was Buchanan. If they get to the end of the article, it will tell them that. Then they can type in that answer over here. And I would do the same thing for the next one for Bull Run. So I could just double click here, and I could go to images. And I do have one saved in my drive. Let's see if we just do a Google search really quick. First battle of Bull Run. This one's fine. So then we select it. It inserts it. I can make it bigger if I want. And then I can link to what I have on my planning document. I already have that short video about the First Battle of Bull Run, where it has the clue or the answer that we're looking for. Okay, so then I'll go back to here, and I just clicked on it to link it, so then apply, and now that's linked to that YouTube video about the First Battle of Bull Run and the number of casualties, which would be 5,000 for here. Once I'm done with this whole site, what I need to do is go up to this little share button, and I need to change it. It says anyone at Mesa Public Schools can find and view, but really we should change that to anyone can find and view the published version, because students are on a different domain than teachers. So in order for your students to find it, change it to anyone can find and view the published version. Press save, done, and then press publish. Okay, and publish. And once it's published, then you can put it in Canvas if you're using Canvas. You can put it on your district website for students to access. You can put it in Google Classroom if you're using Google Classroom, wherever you want to share it with them. You go to right here to the link, the chain link, copy that link, and then that's where you would paste that Google Classroom or the district website. And just to see what it looks like, here it is. So here's what my students would see for the digital escape room. And again, this is a great way to build anticipation for a new topic or subject that your students will be learning about in class. And hopefully you'll be able to make one of these digital escape rooms using Google Forms and Google Sites. Thank you for watching this short overview video about how to build a digital escape room.